Hi friends, this is Julia and welcome to my channel. I could not let the 14th of February pass by without at least one Valentine's or anti-Valentine's card. Now don't get me wrong, I love any reason to tell our loved ones that we love them, but I always tend to be pulled towards the more sarcastic or funny cards. I'm starting off with some classic Valentine colors, 3 shades of pink. I use Distress Oxide Inks in picked raspberry, warm lipstick and spun sugar. I start with the darkest picked raspberry and blend from the upper right corner, just a sliver, and then I bring in warm lipstick and blend that in before I blend in the lightest spun sugar and go back and forth, but I don't spend a lot of time on the blend because this will have a lot of layers. From the opposite corner I bring in black soot and lay down a heavy coat before I blend in Hickory Smoke and bring that grey all the way to the light pink spun sugar, going back and forth to create a nice blend where the colors meet. I have this spray bottle with perfect pearls mixed in, and I spray that on my background, and when the pearlescent water reacts with the ink, I can pick up color with a paper towel. Now let's add another texture. I have this heart stencil from Letter It, and I intend to use that with some black Nuvo Crackle paste. I want some imperfect black crackled hearts on this background. Don't ask me why. Black hearts will crackle as they dry. Now let's move on to our focal points. My friend Linda gave me this Snarky Cats Halloween stamp set, and I pick out the cat that looks most afraid, running. I stamp the cat in Distress Oxide Hickory Smoke and coat the image with Wow Clear Matte Dull embossing powder. Any clear powder works, but for this one I wanted the matte finish, and I melt the powder with my heat tool. Now let's have some coffee and color. The coloring of the cat is very simple because of the embossing powder that seals off my coloring and the fact that I just use 2 colors of Distress Oxides, Hickory Smoke and Black Soot. This image already has shading built in, and I just put down clean water all over the image and let the grey and the black blend together with water. Then I put some clean water on his cheeks and pick up color with a paper towel, lightening that area before I use picked raspberry to make him blush and blend it out with water. The next step is one I always do with all of my fussy cut images. I use a black marker to get rid of those white edges and make the image blend in. Always color the edges from behind, so if your pen slips, the marking will be on the back. I drew our second image with a pencil and traced the pencil lines with a black marker. This will be what my cat is running from, blushing. I decided to do the coloring of this bow as easy as I did the cat. I use Oxide Inks to watercolor, this time in brown, walnut stain, and for the shadows, ground Espresso. For the heart on the arrow, I use the same 3 shades of pink as I use in the background, and I use a small brush to blend them together with water. And then I fussy cut this bow and use the same black marker to color the white edges. I often struggle with the sentiment, but this time I saw the sentiment and immediately knew how I wanted the card to go with it. I use my anti-static bag over some black cardstock to get rid of any moist or tackiness, so when I use embossing powder, I know it will only stick to what I stamp. I stamp in Versamark sticky ink and cover the sentiment with Wow Vanilla White Opaque embossing powder. Of course, any white embossing powder will do, but I love the vanilla white. I use my Tonic guillotine trimmer to cut down the sentiment to a strip before I start assembling my card. I start with gluing down that cupid's bow, and now you can see the crackles on those black hearts. I stick to what I like, and I bring in archival black ink to darken the edges all around the card. It's time to glue down my running cat, and then I use Distress Oxide Inks in black soot on a brush to define that cat and give him a shadow. Of course, the camera died, but what I also did was to go around one side of the black hearts to give them a shadow too. I glue down my panel on a black piece of cardstock slightly bigger to give this card a black frame. Then I bring out a strip of cardstock and the picked raspberry again and blend that on my white strip. Then I glue down the black sentiment on the inked cardstock so everything matches. To make the sentiment pop even more, I put foam squares on the back for some added dimension and adhere the sentiment to the card. The last details are using my white gel pen to brighten up the eyes on the cat, and then I use glossy accents on the heart on the arrow and the eyes on the cat, and I feel this Valentine's card is finished. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you'll pop by soon again. Until the next time, happy Valentines!